While everyone talks about AI taking our jobs, no one mentions another serious issue in real estate. Corporate investors use AI to get the best houses, and they get them fast. This creates a housing shortage and makes it almost impossible for people like you and me to beat Wall Street. But there's a solution. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how investors use AI to buy houses by the bulk and how you can compete with them. Have you ever wondered why your neighbors change so often? One day is John and Mary, and the next day it's Simon and Lauren. Just as you get used to one couple, they're packing up. The answer is simple. They're all renters, just like those before and after them. The average length of tenancy in the US is about 3 years, so it's no surprise you see new faces pop up regularly. But then you realize that half of your street is composed of rental properties. It's pretty common, but why? Let's imagine that John and Mary lived in the state of New York. There, the average income for a family of two in New York is $80,000. The median home price in New York State is $425,000, which is even 1.5% below the national average. A typical month for a couple with no kids like them costs about $7,000, with a third of it going towards rent or mortgage. So in theory, they could have taken out a 30-year mortgage at 7.5%, paying around $2,700 a month, which is bearable for two. So why did they choose to rent instead? Especially when the two costs are nearly about the same. Personal preference could be one reason, but there is a less obvious one. What if John and Mary were ready to buy but got outbid? The house they live in and the one next to it and even the one across the street, all of those properties plus several more in the whole town were bought up before they can even blink. And not just by anyone, by real estate investors, primarily Wall Street landlords who aren't in a hurry to sell. That's right, there's more to Wall Street than just stocks and funds. They're big into real estate too. So what would happen if John and Mary actually bought that house? They will probably live there for years, maybe even a lifetime. It could become a family nest passed down through generations. Or they might buy a second home either to rent out or sell. This scenario benefits John, Mary, and potentially their kids. But what's in it for big real estate investors? The answer is simple: nothing. Now, imagine thousands of families like John and Mary across the US. Over 65% of Americans own their home. That's a massive portion of the population. In a market like this, real estate investors have to be quick and compete with families dreaming of their own home. So they have to come up with different strategy. But why would these large companies focus on residential real estate and not the commercial ones? Let's look at some numbers. So in 2023, investors own about 27% of all family homes. And the craziest thing is that one investor can own and rent out hundreds of homes. Overall, large and mega investors represent about 16% of the market. This share is growing every year. But for now, most of the rental properties are owned by small and medium investors. But why are investors shifting focus from commercial to residential real estate? Traditionally, commercial properties were quite profitable, with rental yields around 6 to 12%. For residential real estate, it is lower, around 4%. So what's driving this change in their investment strategy? Of course, the COVID-19 pandemic changed how people look at work. Many switched to remote. Now, almost half of Americans work remotely, either part-time or full-time. This shift means companies are spending less on their office spaces. So the demand and returns for commercial real estate are also lower, and institutional investors don't like lower returns. So they switch to residential properties. But there is another crucial point. As you know, the Fed raised interest rates several times in 2023 to fight inflation. This has also influenced the commercial real estate market. And now, most of that real estate is no longer profitable as they're not being bought or leased. And experts predict an even bigger fall for commercial properties. So it is no surprise the focus of investors shifted to residential real estate. But imagine, today, every seventh single-family home in the US is owned by an investor. Why would Wall Street investors buy up so many houses? The answer is simple: to rent them out to people like John and Mary. Today, rents in the US are still lower than monthly mortgage payments. So for many people, it is the only real option because both home prices and interest rates are high. Last year, the average monthly payment on a mortgage increased by more than 46%, from $1,400 to $2,000. The sharp price rise happened in the middle of 2022 when the Fed began raising interest rates. But that's not the end. As we know, interest rates continue to hike. In August 2023, mortgage reached the highest in 23 years, with the median reaching $2,700. At the same time, the national median for asking rent price is $1,900, but it varies across the country from $1,600 to $2,400 depending on the state. Overall, the rent is almost 30% cheaper than a mortgage. That's why investors buy hundreds of cheap houses and rent them out to low and middle income American families. But home prices are often unaffordable because of the housing shortage. Why is that happening? Partially because of artificial intelligence. Wall Street investors use their budget for modern technology to buy houses easier and faster. Sometimes, when you want to get a home, you don't compete with another person. You compete with tech firms like Zillow, for example. How does it work? Well, Zillow, Opendoor Technologies, and OfferPad Solutions are major players operating on the iBuyer or instant buyer model. This model uses AI tools to simplify home buying and selling. It got popular during the pandemic to minimize all contact. iBuyer companies purchase residential properties directly from private sellers and then resell them. They rely on market data analysis, information from sellers, and agents to make their decision. And thanks to AI algorithms, this process is much quicker and more efficient than all traditional methods. That is why iBuying companies can make instant cash offers on homes. For example, if you sell your home to an iBuyer, you can get a cash offer in as little as 24 hours. Almost no ordinary buyer like you and me can compete with that. Still, there are a few important points. First, these iBuyers usually don't work with premium housing. They focus on affordable options. Secondly, they might offer a price slightly below market value. Once they make an offer, they inspect the home, and sometimes, if the description doesn't meet the reality, iBuyers can further reduce the price. What happens after iBuyers buy a home? They renovate it a little and immediately resell it at a higher price or rent it out, maybe even to the same person who wanted to buy it in the first place. But even though AI is flooding our lives, it is still imperfect. Its algorithms also fail sometimes. For example, Zillow used the AI tool Zestimate to predict changes in housing prices. After the pandemic, it could not predict housing prices well enough. This led to a financial loss of $304 million and a massive layoff of 2,000 employees. It seems like the pandemic was extraordinary even for AI. But even those downsides don't stop corporate investors. Some investors are buying up single-family homes by the bulk. Just look at this map. This is Bradfield Farms, a neighborhood of Charlotte in North Carolina. The average price of a home here is around $200,000, which makes it attractive to young middle-income couples. In 1 year alone, over 100 homes were sold. And who bought half of them? Right, large investors. And they paid in cash. And here's Charlotte itself. Look at all those orange dots. Each one is a house sold to an investor in just over a year. The scale is impressive, isn't it? There are hundreds of places like Bradfield Farms across America. Because of the cheap housing prices, many real estate investors choose them. So every year, the percentage of houses brought by investors only grows.
So today, We own about 30,000 single-family rental homes across the U.S.
At the same time, this trend leaves no choice for young middle-income families. They can't afford a more expensive house, and the affordable housing is bought by corporations, so they have to rent, generating even more revenue for investors. With this speed, up to 40% of America's single-family homes could be in the hands of investors by 2030. But even if it happens, there's still a way to get your dream home. So how can a regular buyer compete with huge investment firms? When selling a home, remember, cash offers are often the best option for the seller. If you can offer this, your chances of winning increase by 290%. One way to do cash offers is through your savings or by using services like Fund and Grow. Now, I want to take a moment to talk to you about Fund and Grow. Fund and Grow, it's a company, a done-for-you company that works with real estate investors and helping them get up to $250,000 in liquid money at 0% interest. This is a great offer, especially if it's at 0%, because you don't have to worry about interest payments anymore. And with that cash, you can actually use it to either expand your business or invest in real estate and continue to expand your real estate portfolio. So take advantage of this amazing offer with Fund and Grow by clicking on the link on the screen. Let's get back to the video. But I understand it's not an option for everyone. So what can you do instead? The answer is surprising. You can also use AI tools. This will speed up your search for the right home. For example, Trulia's AI uses personalization to improve house searches. It can analyze your preferences and make suggestions. Imagine you're looking for a 3-bedroom house with a pool in the backyard. Trulia will help you to meet those expectations. Roof.ai is a service that works similarly but uses a chatbot. So all of your interactions with it are based on your answers. You start a chat and the bot asks for your goals. Let's say it is to find a house you want to buy, and depending on your needs, it will either do an advanced search or connect you with an agent. Of course, these tools aren't as powerful as the ones used by Wall Street, but you can give it a try. But even apart from AI tools, you can still ask for extra help. Imagine you like a house, but you don't have enough money to pay it right away. You can use services like Ribbon or Orchard that make a cash bid on your behalf. They buy a house for you. Next, they simply rent it out for the short term while giving you time to get financing. For example, Ribbon gives you 180 days to get a loan and buy that house. This way, you can get ahead of the investors and reserve a home for yourself. And now, the most important thing you should do if you want to buy a house, instead of thinking about corporate investors and their powerful AI tool, get your documents in order. Even if you're not buying a home tomorrow, getting pre-approved for a mortgage is a great thing to do. This will speed up your purchase when you really like something. And what are the documents you should have in place? Social Security card or passport, a list of all residential addresses for the past few years, paycheck receipts within the last 30 days, tax returns for your previous 2 years, a list of employers for the past several years, bank statements for at least 60 days for all accounts, bank and related business records, documents verifying any income, statements for investments, trusts, retirement, and other financial accounts, documents providing ownership of vehicles or other real estate, statements for 60 to 90 days on any credit cards, a copy of your credit report, rental history of the home if there has been one, and if part of your down payment is a gift from a third party, then a copy of the gift letter. Buying a home, it's a lot of paperwork, and the best you can do is prepare for everything in advance. So as you can see, not all is lost, and you can still buy your dream house, especially with good preparations. So what do you think? Do you think we can beat Wall Street investors? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.